Hey everyone, my name's MDC9 and welcome to 100 Days of Hardcore but in Minecraft Bedrock. Hardcore means that if you die in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you are unable to respawn. The goal for these 100 days is to establish a base and get settled. Very simple, very slow. As many of you know, Bedrock does not have a built-in hardcore mode, but Jesser 101 has made a mod that adds it. Additionally, I use a PvP texture pack and a shader pack. Credit to Luke the Notable for the 100 Days idea. All links are in the description. This video took a bunch of time to record and edit, including previous deaths as seen here. So if you could give this video a like, that would be awesome. Anyways, intro aside, I hope you guys enjoy. YOLO, let's get straight into it. On day 1, I spawned in a spruce forest. I immediately climbed onto a nearby mountain to try and find a village. After a couple minutes, I found one and it had not only one, but 2 blacksmiths. I quickly looted the village for food and anything of value. I practically had full iron armor, but no tools save for an iron pickaxe. Soon, night fell and I slipped into a cave to craft some tools, but a creeper noticed me and nearly ended my run right there. Despite that, I had a sword and shield as well as full iron armor. However, the rest of the night went smoothly. Day 2, I explored a ravine and gathered coal, iron, and even some lapis and diamond. I was a man who was happy. During the night, I established a small hidey hole and did some crafting. Days 3 to 6, I started gathering resources for a house I wanted to build. Lots of tree chopping. Who needs team trees anyway? Sorry, Mr. Beast. I also really wish campfires stacked. I searched my copy of the world for a suitable place to live. There was only one problem. It was almost 2,500 blocks away. And since campfires don't stack, I would have to make multiple trips. So from day 6 to day 10, I made the journey, raiding pillagers, villagers, and ruined portals. I also established a temporary hut so that I had a place to keep us warm in the cold, unforgiving nights of this cruel world that I was living in. On day 11, I started building my house. This was around the time I started sleeping through the night, so the nearby village wasn't overrun by the undead. I had plans for those villagers, and I did not want to import slaves, I mean villagers, to work for me. Anyways, let's get off that tangent, shall we? On my way back to the shack, I found a pillager patrol which I killed. I have no idea how I didn't get bad omen, but I didn't mind and went to sleep. On days 12 and 13, I built the main body of the house, except the guy who made the tutorial did a stupid and screwed up the dimensions. You can clearly see in later parts of the video that it is 10 fucking blocks, not 8, 10. Anyways, from day 13 to 16, I worked on the exterior of the house. My plan was to have a small cute home with a large underground section. After I finished that, I started gathering materials for the interior from days 17 to 20. On day 21, I went on a trip since I needed sugarcane and cacti. This took a lot longer than expected, but on the morning of day 22, I found the desert. Only problem was I was running out of food. Fast. I searched the nearby area, crawling through the desert dunes and becoming weaker and weaker, but with 1 raw beef to spare, I found the village that saved my life. I then continued on into the night. I ended up finding a desert temple with an enchanted golden apple. The next morning, I got some acacia saplings and some melon from a nearby village, and some diamonds and golden apples in another temple. So, on the afternoon of day 23 with my pockets bursting with loot, I started my long trek home. I sailed through the night and got back home on day 24, but with a new furry friend. This is a horse, but it is very slow, so it shall not be named and shall be bred with a faster horse so I can have a valiant steed. Anyways, I finished gathering supplies for the interior of the house and I was ready to finish it. On day 25, I started to work on the interior of my house only to realize how bad it was, so I abandoned that idea and made it my own. With the interior mostly finished, I decided it was time to move my bed upstairs and finally sleep in my new home. On day 26, I finally finished the interior and turned my shaders on. Again, both the shader pack and the house tutorial I used will be in the description below. On day 27, I started work on my next part of my house. This will be where my enchanting setup is. So I filled in a pond and laid out the start of the build. On days 28 and 29, I carved out the area and did most of the walls. I'm running low on resources, but who cares, because on day 30, I started collecting wool and blue dye. Day 31, I continued gathering wool and dye. Day 32, I finished filling in the enchantment room floor. I also started my basement. Day 33, I gathered and smelted sand and stone. I also cleared out more from my basement. Remember, the plan is to have a sprawling basement with most of the main rooms of my base set up. Day 34, I finished excavating the main basement connection hub as well as connecting it to my enchantment room, which I filled the ceiling in. Day 35, I filled in some of the bookshelves. I also started laying some of the basement floor and made the walls look cleaner. Day 36, I did more of the same, but I also bred clouds for leather. Day 37, a creeper blew up right outside my house, but since I hid it away, the house had minimal damage. After that, I got on a horse and hunted for leather. I finished getting all the bookshelves I needed on day 38. On day 39, I made an enchantment table and finally called the enchantment room completed. I also started a large mining trip so that I could replenish my dwindling resources. At the very end of day 35, I found a second notch apple in a dungeon. A couple minutes later, on day 40, I found another spawner with a couple of golden apples. I also found a couple of veins of diamonds. Day 41, I didn't find much, but on day 42, I found like 5 veins of diamonds. Like, bruh, most of the diamonds I got were from this day. I also found part of an abandoned mineshaft where I could get a bit of wood. On day 43, I found more of the mineshaft and found another god apple in a chest. I decided that it was time to finally resurface, as most of my gear was incredibly low on durability. But of course, when I came up, it was turning night, and since I hadn't slept in almost 5 days, phantoms spawned. There were so many, and I got the 2.5 hearts that I chugged a golden apple and saved myself. Soon, I found my horse and got home. Unfortunately, my helmet and sword broke, and I was forced to use other tools as I was trying to conserve resources. On day 44, I crafted my diamond items, but I wanted to wait until I enchanted them, so I started grinding for XP. From days 45 to 47, I lit up and walled my villages, and during the nights I grinded for XP, enchanting my gear when possible. The next 2 days, I started to work on a farm. I don't really like this design, but there's always time to change it. I needed more wheat seeds and beetroot, so I went on a short journey to find some. I got the wheat at a village I had found when I was moving to my new home, but beetroot proved difficult. I ended up finding a desert much closer to my base than the one I trekked to 20 days ago. In it, I found a village with beetroot. The one problem was that there was a pillager tower in the middle of it. So I took a risk and grabbed some of the beetroot and looted the tower. I accidentally started a raid, but I'm sure those villagers will be fine. But who cares, because I got my beets and I went home. Day 52, I finished most of the farm. Day 53, I lit up and walled off my farm. Days 54 to 56, I cleared out a space for my storage room. Day 57, I gathered wood, and day 58, I gathered iron, and I headed back on day 59. On the night of day 60, those stupid phantoms had me at 2 hearts, but I slipped inside and escaped. I was running out of food, so from days 61 to 63, I searched through villages to exploit them for their food. Why starve when I can make others suffer, right? I didn't do much on day 64, but at least I can say I survived a stack of days in Minecraft Pocket Edition Hardcore. Day 65, I went to the old village and tried to trade with a cartographer for a woodland mansion map. I was extorted for funds though and went home a sad and broken man. Day 66, I went through my village and tried to make a librarian, but it isn't going well, so it looks like I might have to import workers. Day 67, I added cacti to my farm. That's it. Day 68, I got a bit of XP and prepared to take a short trip. Since I still needed experience, I figured I would take a trip to a swamp since I thought they had more mobs spawning. On day 69, I went to the swamp, but I got the same amount of XP that I normally do, so on day 70, I traveled home. From days 70 to 76, all I did was grind for XP. It was slow work, but it was worth it because on day 77, I finally got all my diamond gear enchanted. My sword is pretty crappy without sharpness, but we can always change it. Days 77 to 79, I went back to a spawner I found during my big mining trip and started making a mob farm. I took a break on day 80 to get sugarcane and leather for a second enchant setup and installed it on day 81. Day 82, I carved out the next room in my basement, my nether room. That's right, it only took me 80 days to go to the nether. Day 83, I finally went to the Nether. I don't like this spawn. Too close to a lava ocean, plus it's on gravel. So, I protected my portal and got rid of the gravel. I also started gathering resources from the Nether. I even found my fortress completely by accident. I continued gathering resources on Day 84 and completed most of the room. Day 85, I finished up that room. I'm actually really proud of it. Day 86, I wanted jungle wood, plus cocoa and bamboo from my farm, so I started searching for a jungle. I traveled through the day and into Day 87, but I found one. So I started gathering wood and other resources. I had a couple random seeds on me, so I fed and tamed a parrot. I want to name any parrot I get after candy, so I'm going to call this little guy Almond Joy. Totally didn't get that name from my laziness. Started home on Day 88 and traveled through Day 89, slept the night away when I got home. Days 90 to 93, I worked on Almond Joy's treehouse. I also set up a small animal farm on Days 93 and 94, and made a sheep pit on Day 95. Day 96, home stretch. I spent the entire day in the Nether gathering quartz and gold. I wanted to make a shrine for 100 days. I plan to do this every episode. I got the base down on Day 97, then went back into the Nether for more quartz. Days 98 and 99, I got even more quartz, and nearly finished the monument. It's time. Day 100. Day 100, I figured screw it, I'm gonna die. So I built up really high and chugged some golden apples and potions and jumped. I survived sadly, so I went to the Nether, jumped into the lava, and committed die. Just kidding, I made a copy of the world to troll you guys. Okay, so jokes aside, I got the last of my quartz on Day 100 and finished the altar as I watched the sun set. I got into bed and had a good night's rest. And that's it! I survived 100 days of Minecraft Hardcore in Pocket Edition. I really hope you guys enjoyed. This video took a huge amount of effort, so if you could like, comment, and share, that would be amazing. And if you're part of the 96% of people that are not subscribed, make sure to do so and tap the notification bell to get pinged every time I upload a video. Follow my socials, all links are in the description. The mod and texture packs I used are also in the description. If this video gets 15 likes, I'll go to 200 days, and if it gets 100 likes, I'll release a world download. Again, hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!